Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Aiyana Lewis. If you're new, before we even get started, I just want to say I know the lighting, the setup, everything is weird right now because I'm in my Brooklyn apartment and it's already cloudy outside. It's really dark in my apartment, so this is what we're dealing with. And I don't even have a camera. I have a new iPhone, so that's another thing. If you feel like you don't have the equipment, I'm sure you have an iPhone. You could still record, edit, upload on your iPhone. No excuses. Anyways, like I was saying, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience living in London for the past 2 months. Actually, no, it wasn't the past 2 months, but it was July till September. I lived in London and it was really fun. I had a lot of ups and downs, and basically that's just gonna be me talking about it. If you didn't know, I left LA. I originally lived in LA. I left July 19th, and then I left London September 22nd, so it was almost an entire month. If you are new to my channel and you didn't know, I'm a model and my agency is Lenny's agency in London. So when I had signed to them around springtime, they wanted me to come out there and do castings and meet with clients, and I wanted to go, but that's a really huge step. So I kind of was pushing it off, and I just asked them to book me something first and then I'll come out there. So they did book me for something in July, like I said. So I left there and then I stayed for 2 months. So originally I was only going to stay there for 1 month and then go to New York or something, but then work was so good. I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I'm just talking freely, but yeah, work was so good that I ended up staying 2 months. So yeah, in this video, that's what I'm going to be talking about, that entire 2 months of my life that I was completely MIA on YouTube and Instagram. I was barely posting on Instagram then. So yeah, I just never talked about it. So I really am excited to make this video. Also, I'm just going to include that I'm not talking on a touristy aspect. I really didn't do much sightseeing, which I'll get into later on in the video, but I'm solely speaking on my experience living in London. I'm not talking about the best places to eat and the best places that you have to see. I'm solely speaking on my experience as a model living in London. So like I was saying earlier, work was really good, which I'm so grateful for. If you guys have been following me for a really long time, that is another thing that I want to kind of talk to you guys more about, is my modeling journey. Work was really good. Once I got there, I did book that one job, and then for the next 2.5 weeks I was casting every day, and then after that I was working every single day, which like I said, I'm so grateful for. Another thing, that does not happen for everybody. I knew a lot of girls out there that were not getting as much work, and that's because there are a lot of models in London and it's a tough market. That's what they have all been telling me, and they also said it was kind of an off season. That's why a lot of girls were not getting work. I don't mean in my agency, I just mean other models that I've met in London. I met a lot of girls, which I'll get into too. But yeah, that it was just off season, something like that. I don't know. I feel I have a really different and unique look, and I was just there. So I was able to work a whole bunch, and I will just never get over how grateful I am for that experience. I built a lot of really good relationships with clients out there, not only in London, but in Manchester, which is a 2-hour train ride from London. I went to Manchester a bunch as well when I was out there. So I also have 2 clients over there. It was just such a good work trip for sure. I did a lot of campaigns, and there's some that are in billboards. If you guys follow me on Instagram, every time someone in London or Manchester tags me in this billboard, I repost it. So I'm just so proud of that. It was for Simply Be. I'll insert some pictures because it's so fire, and yeah, I just can't get over it. Also, as far as work, for the rate, in my opinion, I felt the numbers were the same. Say if you get, hypothetically speaking, if you get 5,000 for a job, right? You get £5,000, but then in US currency it's $6,000. So Yeah, but here obviously if you it's 5,000, it's just $5,000, you know. But yeah, I kind of noticed that. I was like, okay, the numbers are the same, but it's worth more. Also, part of the reason that I did not do a lot of sightseeing is because when I first got there, and like I said, I was doing like casting and stuff, I didn't really know anybody. And then once I started working full time, I was like so exhausted that on the weekends I would just sleep all day. So I really did not do anything. Another thing about going to London that I really did not expect at all is that I met a lot of great girls. We just had such an amazing time. These are girls that I was with like consistently every day. And normally, like if I'm in LA or you know, just like working, traveling, whatever, I meet people constantly. I feel like it just never goes like below surface level. Like for me to like really find girls that I vibe with is just so rare. So I was like really grateful for that also, because I thought I was just gonna be in London like lonely, but I actually found friends that's great, you know. It's always great to spread love. There's enough love to go around. So I'm really happy that I met some of them. When I lived in London, I lived in a model apartment. And a model apartment is basically what it sounds like just a bunch of models, an apartment. So in my apartment, it was my bedroom that I had to myself because I paid extra, and then another bedroom with two other girls. So in total there was like three of us. I had my own room, and then they were cool. I actually had about, in total for like the full 2 months that I stayed there, I probably had about like 10 different roommates. Like I was definitely the one that has stayed the longest, because sometimes girls would come for like 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks, you know, just it varied. So I had a bunch of different roommates. They were all fine. I only had a problem with one of them. Okay. um she was crazy. She was crazy. Everyone else thought she was crazy. Sometimes I'd be thinking that it's my problem with people, but no, she was actually crazy. If you guys want a story time about that, I'll do that. Just let me know. Also, I lived in central London, which is like a really good location. I felt like everywhere that I could have gone, like whether it be a casting or to set or just like the other touristy sightseeing stuff, I was always like 30-ish minutes away. The most it would be like 40 minutes, and that's with traffic. So I felt like I was in a really good central location. Okay, another thing about London. This is the most tragic one for me. This is the one that I really felt the most. But I really didn't want to start with this one because it's like more so negative. But the food in London, and just, well, honestly, I don't know what it is about London. When I first was in London, I thought it was just London, or I mean, I thought it was just like the UK, different food. But then when I went to Manchester, the food was better. The only thing I was surprised about, which was good, they had a lot of vegan restaurants. Like the vegan restaurants were good. But if you went to like a regular restaurant and had like their vegan or vegetarian option, no, it was just bad. And I know it's not just the vegan or vegetarian stuff that is bad, because my friends that I had there that were meat eaters, they agreed that the food is trash. So yeah, if you want to eat really good, you have to go to a nice restaurant and spend like 60 pounds on your meal, which I did a few times, because sometimes you just gotta splurge on yourself, okay? And I deserve a good meal. But yeah, other than that, the food was really bad. Also, because I'm sure that I could have found seasonings and correct cooking utensils. Not utensils, supplies. But just where I lived, the grocery stores and supermarkets didn't have anything. Literally nothing. Like the spiciest thing that I could find was like a sweet chili. No cayenne pepper, no scotch bonnet, none of that. Like no red pepper flakes, like even the most basic for my pizza, nothing. People that live in London, like they have told me that you gotta go to the hood, to the Caribbean spots, which I believe I just didn't do that. So I missed out. That sucks. Another thing that I really hated about London, I think this is like the last thing. I have my notebook. It's actually 2 more bad things about London, and then I'm gonna get back into the good things. So there's like no air conditioning anywhere. Like, it's very rare to have air conditioning, and they say it's because it doesn't really get hot, which I understand, but like when it does get hot, why would you just want to be miserable and hot and sticky? Like, okay, is it just me? But if I'm hot, as soon as I start sweating, I want to go home. I'm over this outing. I want to change my clothes. I'm over it. I don't like to sweat. It's so annoying. So for there to not be air conditioning, that was very stressful for me. But when I first got to London, maybe it was only hot like the first 2 weeks that I was there, and it was like really hot, and I just like was so confused why there was no air conditioning. But then after that, it was really cloudy. It would probably be rainy. It got like colder. It got cold really fast, which I didn't expect because, like I said, I went there in July. So I was kind of expecting that I was gonna still get like the summer of it. So I thought it was still gonna be like warm. And I only brought like summer clothes. So maybe like 2-3 weeks into me living in London, I was starting to buy like sweaters and stuff. But yeah, after that, it was like kind of colder, rainy, cloudy, all that stuff. And then like randomly, it would be hot just for one day, maybe 2 days. So those 2 days were dreadful. Like, no air conditioning. Another thing that I really liked is because I was so central, I literally walked everywhere, even if it was to a casting and it was like a 10-minute drive or whatever. If it was like a 40-minute walk, I was like, I'll just walk because it's nice out, you know. I just like to walk. Like I said, this video is gonna be kind of all over the place, but because I walked everywhere, I had to throw away like 3 pairs of sneakers when I left London. I didn't even bring them back home. No air conditioning is very rare. Obviously, if you go into like a huge building or some nicer restaurants, obviously would have air conditioning, but for the most part, they don't have air conditioning, not even on the train. Oh my gosh, that is the place where I was like, I refuse. I'm not dealing with this, because when you go on the train, like, you're going down into the ground, like there's no breeze at all. So you're just there. There's so many people. You're just packed in there. Like, you get down in the train and you immediately start sweating. And that's the reason why I only took the train twice, maybe 3 times. I might have taken it a 3rd time, but I was like, I'm not doing that. No. There wasn't even air conditioning in my apartment. So like I said, the first 2 weeks it was really hot. I had my fan. I did have a fan in my room, luckily, and I had that on constantly. Got a little colder. You could like open your window to have a nice breeze. That's what I would do. One time when I was in my apartment, my building, there's like, okay, like my building is like this, right? But there's other buildings that are not really connected to mine. I'm trying to explain this, but they kind of go in a circle. So like my actual apartment was not facing the street, it was facing the inside. So there was other buildings that I was facing, but it wasn't like street right there. So basically one day I had my window open because it was hot and I was on the phone, and randomly I just hear someone yell, "Can you close your window? You've been on the phone for hours." And I was just shook. I was so shook. Mind you, yes, I was on the phone for hours. I was talking to Shantae, and it was like 12 o'clock at night. So they were kind of valid, but I was still shook that someone was like yelling at me through my window, because they obviously had their window open, but I was just shook. I was literally like, okay. And I closed my window. Yes, I did close my window after that. Which brings me to the people in London at home. Like, when I am like walking around and I see people like staring at me, if I stare at them, they just like look away. But I noticed that like in London, they would just keep staring. Like, if I catch someone staring at me, and then I would just be like, are they staring at me? And they would dead stare back at you. So that was one thing that I noticed. I was like, okay, they just Stare back. No, but honestly, the people of London, they're so nice. Manchester actually has like a rep. That's what I've been told, that their people are really, really nice, and I agree to that to the fullest. Like, they're so nice. When I go to Manchester, they're always like, oh, you're not from here, and they ask you a bunch of questions, and then they tell you like the places to go. They're so nice over there. But the Uber drivers in London are so rude, like so rude, and it doesn't even make any sense. Like, I just don't understand why. Like, one time I was in the car with my friend, and she was on the phone with someone trying to like book a flight. So she's like looking at the flights on her phone while the person's on speaker, obviously, so she could talk to them, whatever. She's like doing this, and the driver's like, can you take it off a speaker? And we're all just like, okay. Like, damn. Like, so if we talk, is he gonna say like, can y'all stop talking? You know, I just didn't understand that. I know like sometimes people would consider it rude to have your phone on speakerphone, but it's like, obviously she's doing something that she needs to do, and that was the only conversation that was going. Like, nobody else was talking, so it's not like it was super loud or anything. I don't know, I just thought that was like ridiculous. Another time, we couldn't find our Uber, but then we finally found him because we were looking at the license plate number. Also, if you don't do that, you need to be checking your license plate before you get into your Uber or Lyft. I never used to do that until one time I literally got into the wrong car and took a drive. It was like a 5-minute drive before we literally noticed. I always check the license plate number. But yeah, we found the car, and when we got in, we were like, oh, sorry, we couldn't find you. Like, on the app it says your car is red, like you may want to look into that so you can get it fixed. That's why we couldn't find you. And he's like, yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff on the app that says that is wrong. I'm sorry. Why are you yelling at us, sir? Sir. That was literally not necessary at all. So yeah, and we're just like, bro, what's wrong with you? And then another time, and this is the last time, okay, there's other stuff, but this is another funny one. We had left the club, and one of the girls' boyfriends had sent us the Uber home, but I lived like kind of down the street from them, like 2 minutes from them, but he put the address in for theirs. So on the way home, I was like, oh, like when you dropped them off, then can you like keep going for like a minute and just drop me off? Mind you, it's like 4 a.m. He's like, oh no, I can't do that, like he's gonna dispute the ride if we go further, and we're just like, bro, no, he's not, like it's fine. That's why he called us Uber home. And he's like, well, no. And he's just like, no, it's fine. He's like, I'll take you home off the app, like, and I won't charge you. And I was like, bro, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, he's saying that he'll like turn off the app and then won't charge me to take me home. But I'm like, you just yelled at me, and then now you're offering me a free ride home. Like, no thanks. So I was like, no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. And then I just stayed at my friend's house for like a little bit until he left, and then I just ran home. Yeah, like they're just crazy out there. I didn't know why they was being so mean to us. As far as the nightlife, I kind of got over that really quickly. I did go out a few times, but it just got really old, and I was over it. Like, we would just go out, see the same exact people, and yeah, I was just feeling a little too repetitive, so I didn't really ever want to go out. Overall, it was a really, really good work trip. Like I said, I am just so thankful that I was able to go there and work a bunch, because I know that does not happen for a lot of people. But I was super, super homesick. Like, I was only supposed to be there for a month, but I ended up staying 2, so I was just not prepared for staying there for that long. I miss Jigga. Oh, you guys probably are wondering like where Jigga was during this. So when I left LA, I went to Atlanta to drop Jigga off, and then I went to London from there. But Jigga stayed with my sister. That she has her own house and she has other dogs, so he was like in a good environment. But at the end of the day, he really missed me, and I really missed him. Like, they said that he was just like acting different. He would be like acting sad and stuff, even though I know he was happy to be with my sister and other dogs. Like, I'm his mom, so I just know he missed me. And yeah, just knowing that he missed me made me like feel so bad and like sick. like I said, I was super homesick, and I feel like that made me physically sick because the last 3 weeks that I was there, I was super nauseous. I would always have headaches. I was extremely exhausted. I know it was just like a mix of literally everything that was going on. Like I was working a bunch, I was homesick, and now I'm physically sick, so like my body is just exhausted. I was like a zombie. I literally felt like a zombie. Like the last 3 weeks that I was working there, because I was sick, I was like surviving off of soup and like yogurt and granola. I couldn't keep anything down. So yeah, it was just really weird. That was probably the worst part of my trip, but like I said, I was just so happy to be working there. I would definitely go back because I built so many great clients while in London. I just know I can go there and work it and kill it. The only difference is I would go there and get my own apartment. I'll probably get like an Airbnb, and like so that I can bring Jigga, and that would be so much fun. Like Aiyana and Jigga take London. Yeah, I would definitely go back. And then obviously another thing that I didn't do in London, because I didn't think I was gonna stay there for so long, is I could have budgeted way better. I just ate out a lot. Another thing, because the food was so bad, I would like buy food and then it was trash, so then I would buy food again. So yep, that is my overall experience living in London. It was really great. I can't wait to go back. I'll probably go back very soon. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. If you guys have any questions, just drop them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Mwah!